Welcome to the Choose on Purpose podcast, where we live with intention. This podcast is here to fuel your fire, empower your journey, and celebrate the fierce determination of multi-passionate entrepreneurs, CEOs, and founders who are courageously making their mark on the world. I'm your host, Becky Plautz. I'm a seasoned empowerment portrait photographer with over a decade of experience. And beyond the lens, I am a connector. I am a heart story listener and a firm believer in a transformative power of embracing fear as our friend so that we can go further, faster, and have more fun than we can even fathom. So, in this dynamic space, if you've been here for a while, that we dive into those heart stories with leaders who are willing to shift with the fear, walk through those challenges with us, and embrace the lessons they've learned after they do it. Together, we'll explore the detours, rest stops, and green light moments that have shaped these leaders and community builders like you into who they are today. Listen, as a mom and a caregiver, a female leader, I know firsthand what the juggling act for striving for excellence really looks like in multiple areas of life. And through these candid conversations and soul nurturing insights, we'll unpack the daily challenges and victories of navigating the entrepreneurial journey while nurturing a thriving personal life. My wish for this podcast is for you to take bold action, intentionally focus on moving forward in your vision that stirs in your soul from listening to the deep conversations, these life breathing moments of wisdom shared here on the podcast. If you're a goal getter and you're eager to infuse the soul journey with purpose, you're in the right place. Join me and our powerful lineup of co-creators as we share these impactful stories, shed some light on the good, the bad, and the in-between moments in remembering why we're here on Earth today. So whether you are a visionary CEO, a passionate founder, or a driven entrepreneur ready to leave your mark, Choose on Purpose is here to embolden your steps, uplift your spirit, and remind you that you are meant for more. It's time to seize your purpose, live with intention, and take that next transformative step on your extraordinary journey. Here we grow. Subscribe now and get ready to ignite your passion, overcome your apprehensions, and create a life that resonates with your heart's deepest desire. Because together we choose on purpose. Now, our guest conversation host today, my co-collaborator today is Tammy Haack, and she is a woman driven to help others believe in themselves and their power to build a more meaningful and joyful life on their terms. A proud mother and wife reaching that midpoint of her journey, she was inspired to share the ABCs she chose to be her guideposts to feeling greater joy in life. Her hope is that others find courage and strength from these building blocks to live their best life. Her book is what we're going to talk about. It's called Get Out of Your Way, Live Your Life for You. I want to welcome Tammy, and I have a question to get us started. I wanted to ask you, when did you decide that you were going to write a book?
Gosh.
Because it was like all of a sudden Tammy had a book. Order Tammy's book is like where it was. It was like, what? That's amazing. So I am curious. When did you decide that you were writing the book? Because I know you went to a writer's retreat. And then like from when you decided or when you knew maybe that you were going to write a book until like you did come out with your book. Tell us about that time frame.
Gosh, so I went to the retreat and I think it was, in October. And, having, decided to go, I thought, hey, there's a few days I get to journal. I had been working on what I still think might be a memoir, but the opportunity to go and meet some new people and learn a little bit more of how to write and get away, it just all sounded amazing. Like it was good. It was a retreat. And then I got there and got to really get to know everyone around me. And so many people had written books, and and then we learned some of the basics as to how to approach writing. And then one of my new friends had shared, you could write something and you could frame it in the ABCs, and I think she was implying, this could be easy, like, as I think all of us, who grows up thinking that they can be an author. I mean, people think they know they want to be one. I never would have imagined a year ago that I would have wrote a book. And, I think it was exciting at first because I love challenges, and for me to fit, what was I going to put into my ABCs? And so I kind of transitioned some of what I had already drafted into a memoir, and more or less took so much of what I know are the strategies that were effective for me to navigate some of the experiences I've had in the last few years. And that's what I put into the ABCs. So rather than tell all the stories of the things that felt heavy, felt light, felt so good, so hard, I talked about how I made it through, and experienced all of that, and grew through those time periods. Um, so yeah, I didn't know I was gonna officially write the book probably until maybe it was late November. I connected with one of
Wow.
my friends from the retreat, and I had shared with her the idea that, hey, you know what? I really had spent the amount of time. I was going through all those ABCs. I think I finished A through Z before I left that retreat. I was up through the night. It was
Oh, I love that.
so fun. Like, that's the challenge for me. Like, but you had to find a letter to go with each of those things that I've been doing. So yes, when I got to explore, I did tweak that a little bit, and borrowed the E for the X in the alphabet.
Got creative. You got
Gosh darn
creative.
it. Yes, that kept me up. Um, but the idea that I was doing it for me, and I was reflecting on all the things that I found so amazing, when I think about the little things that I was doing, and then also so many of the big things, the way I was changing my mindset, applying so many of the tools, the guidance, that you and the OP community, so many friends, and books that I've been reading, kind of compiled all that. It's not as if I created these ideas. It was, I fit them into what I believe are my strategies, that work for me to live my life with intention. And so, knowing that I had built this, Becky, and hearing from you and so many others, that we all have a story, and how so much of, the things that you had said to me, and so many other people that pulled me through and really helped me show up as my authentic self, and learning to really love my life, and if I wasn't loving on it, to figure out, how I would be, getting there. So if I could make any impact on anyone else, that would be awesome for me. I have always wanted to make a difference. So the book is my attempt to do that, to bring some courage,
Mhm.
comfort to someone else out there who is looking to be brave, make some type of a choice, whether it's a little or a big one. It's and I'll share too. I don't like the word pet peeve, but I don't know how else to describe it. But I know for as long as I can remember, I would, be with people, and people would remark about how they want to someday go to Hawaii, or, they really wish that they could go to that retreat, or, darn it, someday I want to buy myself those shoes. And, it just bothered me as I grew older too, because people would just say that and then they wouldn't follow through. And that doesn't align with me, and that's where I've really discovered in the last few years how important integrity is. If you
Mm.
want something, you know, work to get it, or, don't complain about how much you want it and that someday maybe you'll get it. And I think the maybe that where I'm really uh, I struggle with that with people is that I want everyone to have it. I want them to have the joy. I don't want
Mm.
them to tell me that, oh, when I retire, I'm going to do it, because I've experienced enough people that have not even had a chance to retire and their life's been cut short. So I want people to believe that they can do it. It's just they are going to have to put in the effort to figure out how to. So I get a little frustrated sometimes when people are like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to go. It's going to be too much work. I'm going to have to, figure out how to take care of the kids and, feed the husband." And you're like, "Really?" And sometimes the old me would be consumed with that and think for a moment and turn it around on myself like, "Well, what kind of wife and mom am I? I don't feel
Mm.
so bad that I want to go."
Right.
Then, of course, as time went on, sometimes I would feel really bad and I wouldn't even begin to think about it. Like it's not an option. Because this stuff that I reflected in the book, it's been going on for, probably over the last 20 some years. I mean, some of it's youth, that I've had challenges with. And it's just the point that, like you had said, getting out of my way, getting out of my head and just doing it. It was so many different circumstances where I was good at it for a while and then you'd fall off the horse and you'd do what was comfortable, what everyone else was doing. And or I wasn't, disappointing my mom with my hair, like I felt like I wanted to make everyone happy. That got exhausting and no one is going to know how exhausted or frustrated, resentful you might feel. And you might not even know how that all is like ruminating inside you and making you not be the person that you're meant to be. So I think, and I know this is a long answer for, why the book, but I am really hopeful, and the opportunity to sit down with you is really cool because there's been a few moments where, I've achieved the book, felt really excited to share it with friends, family, with the world, and hopeful and optimistic too, and really grateful when I hear people that have read it and they've shared like how inspiring it was, or just joy that they felt, or that they bought it for some other friends. It's about getting the message out there. And so for a moment, what bothers me is like, I don't want it to just sit on the shelf. I want to figure out how I can build the momentum, and have people really recognize that they have the ability. Every day there's an opportunity to work towards something that they know deep down they want, or to sit with something and question like, why don't I feel comfortable or feel happy when I go and do this thing?
Mm.
If I feel like I'm forcing myself to go and be with some people that I don't feel like I can be my true self with, is that worth it? And are you just not wanting to make someone feel bad by saying no? It's just all those types of things. I don't want people to continue to get strung up with that, consumed with those stories, when I know how much, my mom with her passing in the last year, it's life is finite. You don't get to do a redo, and you don't get to know that you can check all the boxes before it ends. So work to prioritize some of those things that you really want to do, make them happen now. Like so.
Yeah. I love that, Tammy. So, right, because when we decide what we want and then we take a step toward it, that is applying courage, right? It is stepping in with hope that, you can get closer to it by saying yes in the moment. And what I love is that a certain kind of persistence needs to happen when you are continually asking yourself like, am I living the life that I want? Am I living my life my way and for me versus for other people. There's a persistence that does need to be there because it's every day that we're, every day is a new day that we need to wipe the slate clean and really just keep assessing and knowing that we have the power of choice to be able to decide, if something or people, someone, right, is still serving you, if it's still in alignment, if that relationship or that, that job or whatever it is, if it's still, important to you because it's your life that you're living. And when we do take the time to reflect, because that's what I love about, the simple things that you put together in this book are so profound because there is a spot for us to take notes and draw something, right? And sketch it out. And I love that. And I love that there's prompts in here. It's just the inspirational quotes, like all the pieces, the intentional pieces in this book are so beautiful that even down to the hearts on the eyes. Like, oh my gosh. So intentional, so fun. And I love that the top of all the pages on the left-hand side say, get out of your way. That reminder throughout the whole book to just remember, like, this is about us. Like, it is about yourself when you're going through this book and to get out of your own way while you read this. So I'm just going to, I grabbed G.
Yeah.
G is for grow. It says, trust the wait, embrace the uncertainty, enjoy the beauty of becoming. When nothing is certain, anything is possible. And that says, that's by Mandy Hale. So I love, and I'm all about growth. So I'll share a couple of the prompts in here too. How does a grow approach make you feel? I love that question. How does a grow approach make you feel? And for me, a grow approach is open to possibility. It's being willing to look at the possibilities and take a step toward it. Really with that mindset of anything is possible. So these are just a couple of things that I really, really love. Oh, and you mentioned how me and everyone that you surround yourself with, how they've inspired you, and these aren't all your ideas and that you gather from somewhere. Like, that's exactly right. Like, there are no real original ideas. We're always evolving with the things that the podcasts that we're listening to, the books that we're reading, the workshops and mentorships that we have in our life. It's all shaping us. And I love that in the back of your book that you have a little inspiration page, giving those kudos to people that have or organizations that have supported you or inspired you throughout this book. I love everything about this powerful little like guidebook to how we get to live the life that we want. So good.
Well, and I can't take all the credit. My friend Mary Helen was just huge and really believing in me and getting me excited and helping me kind of pare down what this task was. And she helped pull it together. And two, with that, someone having that faith in you,
Mm-hmm.
that builds confidence, and it goes back to, yes, I matter. They see me. And, it's not as if when I contacted her in November and she's like, what do you have? Oh, no, no, you're not ready. She was all about helping me, promote it. Like, okay, let's do it. Because I had figured out I wanted it to be published on Valentine's Day. And I
Mm.
just told her, I said, it's about loving who you are and loving, your life. And if you want to build toward the life that you will love, so what better day to put it out there to the world than, the day of love. So that was cool. She was like, okay, we'll do it. And so we did.
Yeah, I love it. Can you tell me, was the cover your decision? Tell me more about the cover.
We worked on the cover, but it was Mary Helen. She came up with it. I definitely, just as you find, the whole driving that
Mm-hmm.
resonates. And I had shared enough with Mary Helen too, that this was about my journey and, and how I'm behind the wheel and I'm no longer, gonna just put it in cruise, I'm gonna pay attention and truly too, it's awesome to spend some time with someone who she saw me for who I was and she listened. Like the brief amount of time we spent together, and then she came up with that picture, and it was good. It was perfect. It's all been divine.
Yeah, I love it. Just the simplicity of the path, it's not detailed with things on the side of the road or, anything overpowering or overwhelming in the image, but just really simply that this is a path and you're following your heart.
Yeah, yeah. So she captured that so well. I love it. And red is my favorite color. So I
There you go.
was excited. Yeah. So cool.
I love that. So would you say that there is any um because we're talking about car analogies and you know that I love car analogies and we talk a lot about detours or rest stops. Would you say that was there any detours or rest stops on your journey with the book, even with, I mean, we know that the book had been in you for such a long time, as you mentioned, but it came out so quickly, in the scheme of things, it was like, wow. Um, would you say that there was any real like detours or rest stops in your journey with bringing the book out?
Gosh, I kind of almost think about a yield sign, like,
Okay.
and this happens. And I think that speaks for why I've been like this for my life, where a lot of times I might be working on something and I don't want everybody to know that I'm doing the things, right? I can't put exact, explanation with it as to sometimes I need to prove to myself that I
Mm,
can accomplish something. And I like to be cautious with others' expectations. Or two, I'm just not comfortable with the questions they might ask, and how I don't like to be the center of attention. And I don't want, this wasn't about me, and it just, so I kind of kept it safe, like tucked, to the side. And I got up early. I'm an early riser. I spent a lot of time mornings and wanting to reshape some of what I had written. And then, yes, then the holidays, so I had November, and then, things ramped up. And there's those moments where I had some adrenaline going, like I'd have to exchange with Mary Helen and be like, okay, things are looking good. And then I believe, we published the book on Amazon, and she said, there's a delay. There's some delays they're experiencing, and this is unique. They haven't had this before. And you know what, Becky, I go right to the fear of, well, maybe that's safer. Like, you know what, maybe this isn't meant to be.
mm,
Like, it's
mm.
just, and I love that Mary Helen was very forward with me from the start. Like we both knew I didn't write, a best-selling magazine or book, excuse me. Um, and so, she had said, you might be writing this book and it might be you that appreciates it the most. And that has stuck with me. Um, and I also see that, feel it, and know that that's kind of like when I first, did a half marathon. I
Mm.
didn't tell all the people. A lot of friends, family didn't know. I just did my thing. I trained and then I went out and did it. And then I was really proud. And then, yes, I would share with people I did it. So I don't know. There's pros or cons to looking at it like that. Um, yeah, the book, most importantly, I don't want people, some people came at me as if I kept this from them. And it wasn't like a negative, it was just kind of like, yeah, I was just kind of creating it and then delivered it.
Yeah. I love that too. Like thinking about how some things work for, extra encouragement or, accountability when we publicly declare things. Sometimes that serves us and sometimes it doesn't, right? Sometimes it can be to our detriment that we're like, oh, and we might scare ourselves more when we say it out loud and then we feel like there's a lot more pressure, or, it starts to actually make us shrink back more than it helps us stand out and step into that. So I think kudos to you for knowing how it would best support you in getting the message out, because you know, it may not have been for you, but it was you doing it. So you needed to do what was best for you in order to bring it to fruition and have it be a reality. And I think that also has, says something about how important it is to have like inside people to support you on those missions, on those projects that are really like head down focus type things, because everybody doesn't need to know everything that you're doing, and there's a certain level of protection that happens when it's something that's coming from your heart and really been kind of building up to come out. So yeah, who's to say, right, who needs to hear it and who doesn't, and the timing. And I mean, here's proof that it worked. You did it your way,
Yeah.
right? You did it your way.
Yeah, that's huge. That's definitely a statement that, for so long I wasn't, doing things my way because it wasn't the popular, it was uncomfortable, it seemed weird to people, or, why not do it this way, and sometimes, just deep down things don't align and you didn't feel comfortable, and you felt like you were forcing things. And so it's been so liberating, and the book is a huge piece of my journey in that I did it. Um, More importantly, what I won't know are, all the outcomes or the impact that it has. And I'm hopeful that this is, it builds on the message that is out there, that people, you know, get this one shot and, to go big and live for themselves. Certainly, have fun.
Yeah, I think right, picturing having fun, it's like, yeah, jump in, go for a car ride, jump get on the path, get on the journey, and do it your way. And I I see that for you, and that I am future focused a little bit. So I love always asking, thinking about 5 years. And I've always used 5 years, but I love that I've found some mentors more recently that really talk about, having a 5 year vision and the importance of that. But I don't know if you know this, Tammy, that I had a video podcast series in 2018 that I did for a couple of years. And that was always the last question I would ask everyone on there was, where do you see yourself in 5 years? And just thinking about, your book, Get Out of Your Way, Live Your Life for You. I'm curious, do you see more for doing books or anything specifically with your journey and now having published your first book with the next couple of years?
I think about what you just mentioned with accountability, that the book is for me, it's springboard that I'm going to choose. It's going to need to, take some patience. Um, but I want to build off of this. And personally, yes, it's going to hold me accountable. I use the book. I'm reviewing it and I love it. They're all my favorite, strategies. They're what I know works for me. And so if I can continue to apply these for myself, that means I show up as my best self every day. And then I can deliver on, being the mother that I want to be,
Mm.
and exploring, the world, whether it's hiking, traveling, trying something new. I'm doing it in the frame of mind that I know allows me to be present and to have fun with it. And so the 5 year plan is awesome because I think that, and I know, I mean, you and we sat through a session and I did some type of presentation with OP like 3 years ago. And
Yeah.
at that point, my journey, I was probably on a high. And then, it kind of took a little bit of a detour and went down for a bit. So I feel like I've caught myself and I've got some strong guardrails with the book,
Mm.
and those are going to help me to hopefully continue to deliver, and help build momentum to the world, to help other people, recognize that they too, whether they're 50 or whatever age, they can try a new career. They could, switch their job. They don't, feel like they should do this because that's how their parents did it forever. And so if I can continue to remind people and be that voice or just a whisper that yes, you can, why not? And, and maybe give them that extra courage or nudge, that'll feel good. So to continue to do it for me, and I've got 3 daughters, and it's already definitely impacting them. And
Mm.
obviously they've been an experiment. So for the last few years, yes, they know and they see now within each of their books. Like I put it in writing, the things that I say and try to influence them and have them think about. I've shared it with everybody. So, I hope that that has, and will continue to take them far because they're feeling more comfortable knowing that, hey, my mom is, going on, I'm going to be 48, but that old, and I deal with stuff they deal with, and it doesn't get easier. What I'm reminding them is, things to think of, what you can do when you're feeling, really frustrated or, you need a change, and how to know that it's okay to speak up or it's okay to just tuck in for the night, all that. So in 5 years, I'm pretty optimistic that I'm going to see, a lot of growth and joy because I'm already seeing it in the last few, just with me practicing.
Yeah, and now you have the manual right in front of you. It's in print.
Yeah.
It's your work. It is, it's there. What I love too, Tam, is that you talk about earlier, you talked about living in integrity and love hearing how, it's true that this is the way that you are living it, right? You're using the book for yourself. And I think that that is just such a great like thing to make sure and pull through in this conversation is knowing that living in that integrity, living, by what we preach, and really being able to utilize the resources that we know support us and go back to them, be reminded of who you are in the way that, you do that best. And I think that, I mean, I'm just super excited and proud to see this and be a part of, getting to support you and having more people read it, use it, not just read it, but implement it into our lives. And I would love to see a book study group happening with your book. I would love that. Um, and just the reflection piece. We know how important the reflection is, and this is laid out beautifully to be able to support in doing that. So Tammy, where can everyone go and grab the book? Where's the best place?
It's on Amazon.
Okay, great. So just look up Get Out of Your Way, Live Your Life for You. I'll actually have it in the show notes as well for easy click access. And Tammy, where can the viewers and listeners go and connect with you?
My email address is in the book, but it's also, I don't know if you want to list it, but yeah, it's just tshack@gmail.com. So
Awesome.
feel free. I definitely have connected with a few people and appreciate, just not just learning of how, impactful, but things that people have tried and shared some strategies with me. Because I'm still practicing, showing up every day. So always can use something new.
Yeah, she's open to the resources and the opportunities for growth, just like the rest of us that are buying the book to go and do the work. We're in it together, right? We're
Right.
all we're all in our own self work. So I love that.